Calon FM on 105 FM. Your community, your music.
It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show.
So, if you fancy going to see something extraordinary this week, pop yourself up to Theatr Clwyd and see the exceptional Assassination of Katie Hopkins. That's what it's called. The Assassination of Katie Hopkins. It is a brand new musical. It's a world premiere and it's taking place at Theatr Clwyd, and the title alone sets it apart from anything that I've seen in recent years. It's witty, it's funky, clever and outrageously funny, and holds up a mirror brilliantly to social media society. I popped up on Thursday night to Theatr Clwyd to see the press night and just to see what it was all about, to be honest with you. But I caught a word with the composer, Mr. Matt Winkworth, and here's what he had to say.
Well, I can't remember if it was a specific thing she tweeted, but the idea of using her fictional death as a sort of way to explore free speech. I mean, my initial concept for it was a lot simpler, and Chris really expanded it into something much more nuanced and interesting. But the basic idea of what if a far-right figure died and that became a bastion for free speech in a way, and the difficult questions that brings up. So it's a bit of an irresistible title, obviously, but
well, it is.
We strongly, for me, I think Chris is less, I sort of don't mind courting controversy a bit because there's so much art and music and stuff that I love that is controversial and is, asking difficult questions, and I think that's what is the most interesting to go to the theatre and see. So I don't mind that, but it was very important to have a title that people came in with preconceptions, and so that was the other thing. Like, the last 6 months have been a real Twitter storm of people making wild assumptions about the play that doesn't at all tie into anything that we've released about the play.
Absolutely, but I mean, I don't think you could, as this little mini protest that's going on outside, they're suggesting if you used the assassination of Sadiq Khan, then there'd be uproar. But there wouldn't be uproar because
it would be a completely different play.
Exactly.
The thing I want to write, but we've not been sort of engaging with people on Twitter by choice. But when people say, "What about?" Well, you wouldn't write the assassination of Sadiq Khan or Diana? It's like, yeah, I would. It'd be a different. It'd be a different play. It wouldn't be. You can't just drop them in place of Katie Hopkins in this show because she represents something very specific, and it's nothing, to do. Well, there's an element, as you saw in the play, of her being a woman. There's an element of that, but that's kind of in her support in the play, if anything. Well, you know what the play is like. It goes back and forth, and hopefully makes you think about things that are difficult, whatever your ideology is. So we genuinely hope anyone who comes to see this, whatever their position on the political spectrum, whatever they think about Katie Hopkins, will come out having asked some questions of themselves that, made them question their opinions. Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think you do question your own, what you actually do think. And also as well, because I'm a big Twitter user, you've clocked it yourself. It only takes one person to say something, and that changes your whole opinion on things.
Absolutely. And I think, well, obviously there's the echo chambers sort of thing where you're, by design, you're surrounded by people whose opinions you tend to agree with and everything gets magnified. But also, it's been very interesting working on this show since the release of the title back in October, I think it was, September, October, getting this kind of mini version of the show on our own Twitter feed, stuff that's almost verbatim things that Chris has wrote. And I think one thing is, often on Twitter you tend to only get people with the real extremes of opinion, right or left, which the whole play is about, this kind of polarised society. So it is a weird one, but absolutely, like, one thing can sort of spiral and maybe it can influence people, maybe only other people that already believe it see it, I don't know. But we sort of had to avoid going too far and ruthlessly into the dark depths of the internet because it would just be unbearable to watch on stage. I mean, if anything, what we put up there is really a toned down version of the world of internet commenting. I mean, obviously there's a couple of moments where it's particularly unpleasant, in Act 2 in particular, but I mean, you could easily write far worse just by copying and pasting, YouTube comments. So weirdly, if anything, it's kind of almost toned back how just relentlessly horrible online commentary can be.
And I think there's nothing better, well, not better, but for want of a better word, than a death to give people a different spectrum on something. I mean, like you mentioned Princess Diana in it very briefly.
Yeah, the Diana.
And we didn't really have internet then, well, Twitter or Facebook or any of that kind of thing. But if we did, I mean, it was bad enough when the press all suddenly went, "Oh, she was our princess," and it was like, well, you all hated her when she was alive. This is ludicrous.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, of course, we explore that a bit in Act 2, the idea of sanctification, and if people's opinions change through that. But on social media, there's also a weird thing, isn't there, about kind of almost criticising how people are allowed to express grief or express a response to someone's death. You see people saying, I don't know, saying a little tribute thing, and then someone else kind of calling them out for it and being like snarky about it. I mean, it's just, it's all just spirals and circles of levels of everyone just calling each other out. But it's death is a big launching off point for the kind of rhetoric we wanted to explore. Yeah.
And the staging of it is absolutely remarkable.
Isn't it?
Absolutely remarkable. I never expected anything like that. I won't ruin it for anybody that's coming.
Nor did I.
It's just off the scale of anything I've ever seen here. Theatr Clwyd. Yeah. It's absolutely phenomenal. Who came up with that idea?
That is our amazing designer Lucy Osborne, who we had some workshops in October, and even then, just sitting in the room and kind of us with the piano and 6 actors or 8 actors, whatever it was, and she had this vision even then of kind of lots of little blocks and little units that all flashed and talked to each other, and it always felt very clear that the visual design had to be very integrated with the music and the sound world, and it all had to be one quite all-encompassing thing, because the internet is such a so kind of in your face and distracting. There's so much happening all over the place. So this idea of representing that on stage and just it being sort of high tech felt important for putting the internet on stage. I think is a hard thing to do and for it to work, so I think an element of that, but it's completely blown me away. I think everyone that's worked on this show, no one has done the easy option. Everyone has pushed their ability and resources to the absolute max to create. Excellent. I mean, it's amazing.
I mean, it's almost genius in its simplicity. Since the birth of Twitter, I mean, and the growth of Twitter, of course. Whatever people write on it these days, there's always going to be people that believe it. There's going to be people who don't. And there's going to be these huge battles, left, right, and centre. But that you've highlighted brilliantly. I mean, it's so simply, but it's just so effective that how Twitter, which when it first started was a silly little sort of thing for people just to like messages on, suddenly it becomes real life very, very quickly.
Very political now, obviously, with Trump.
And it's on something that's on the news straight away.
And it's, because it happens quicker than the news, doesn't it? Because, the BBC and other sites will generally wait for a certain amount of confirmation, and Twitter, it's someone right there. Sometimes telling the truth and sometimes not. And, horrible things like in the aftermath of events where people have died, where you see people kind of fake tweets saying they've lost a child, and just bizarre the amount of stuff. But I think
But this thing now with this little lad, I mean, people are saying that the doctors are murderers, and then suddenly millions of people are saying the doctors are murderers. It just rockets, doesn't it, very quickly.
And there's a bit of a mysterious alchemy as to what will and won't sort of go viral as well. There's some stuff that like again in our show, there's both of our characters have their own sort of moment of online shaming or ridicule, and it's kind of impossible to know exactly what's going to take off and suddenly inform lots of people and what isn't, and who is just trolling and who's actually serious. Obviously, is kind of impossible to tell as well. I've spent a lot more time on Twitter writing the show than I normally do.
Well, I believe it's selling very well.
I hope so.
Already,
I don't know actually, but
I think you're
hope
onto a
so.
winner.
I would just really love people to come whatever they think, if it piques your interest at all, come and see it, because it probably won't be what you expect, I think, is how I feel, and that's what we hope to achieve, really.
Excellent.
Whether you think, you know, oh, that's out of order, or whether you think that sounds hilarious, like, whatever you feel,
Yeah.
I think it will challenge your views.
Yeah.
She called Katie, left me and you.
Yeah, so there you go. Don't believe anything that you read, right? Go and just see it. Just go up to Theatr Clwyd and see this bit of work. It's called The Assassination of Katie Hopkins, and it runs until the 12th of May. And also we got The Turn of the Screw coming next week, Tuesday until Saturday, the 5th of May. Box office number 01352 701 521. And that's 01352 701 521. Support your local theatre, girls and boys. It won't be there forever if you don't.
Brace yourself. It's Andy Snowden. Stage and stage and stage and screen. Stage and screen.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
105 FM.
Here's Johnny.
Life is a box of chocolates, Forrest. You never know what you're gonna get.
Tell me about it, Steph.
I see dead people.
Stage and screen.